This is the Wealthy Retailer Podcast with your host, Dan Holman. Every episode, Dan talks with a variety of retail experts, owners, managers, and so much more, sharing their expertise, their experiences, and the retail topics that matter to you, the independent retailer. The Wealthy Retailer Podcast is brought to you by Canadian Retail Solutions. Learn more at retailbycrs.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Wealthy Retailer Podcast. I am your host, Dan Holman. Really excited today. I say that all the time. I'm really excited. I'm an excitable guy, I guess, but I am excited today. I have one of what I call, our wealthy retailers joining the podcast today. She is a long-standing retailer, someone that I get to admire from afar. She is from Ellicott City, Washington, right?
Maryland,
right
outside
pardon
DC.
me,
Yep.
Maryland.
Yep.
I'm a Canadian. I got my things all messed up.
Good.
So I've got Tammy joining us on the podcast this morning. Mm-hmm. Tammy's going to give us a little background about her, and we're going to dive into some great retailer questions. Morning, Tammy.
Good morning. That's great. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a regular listener all the time. I make my children listen, whole family listens. I quote you as the wealthy retailer that someday I hope to be. Anyway, my store is in Maryland. It's a lifestyle store, and I've had it for about 10 and a half years. And I've been in a couple different locations here in Ellicott City. And Ellicott City is known for having some weather-related issues and a lot of flooding. So we've had a couple floods, and we lost our business in the building in 2011. The whole thing, in about a half an hour, the whole thing was gone. And then we quickly just kept going, started over, and never stopped, and reopened in a location a little, maybe 10 buildings up the hill, which is up the hill is better for anyone in this town. And 2018, though, we had another same flood. The whole town filled up kind of like a bathtub. And fortunately, we didn't lose the whole store that time, but a lot of business and a lot of months, and the whole town was devastated again. And now we closed again for the pandemic for a couple of months, and here we are back, and seems to be a regular thing.
I said sort of before we started, I said, this is, your world has stopped turning 3 times, and you continue to rise from, the waters. So Tammy's store is in a town that's at the bottom of a hill, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the river runs below parts of the downtown core. So when the floods happened, it like a bathtub, it just filled up from beneath stores, and
just comes rolling down the hill. No, it's terrifying. It's almost like a tsunami of water. And it happens as soon as you start to see a little bit of water out front that starts to fill up as if it was a bathtub. Now we know that we have about 5 minutes, and then it's either going to stop, or if it keeps raining, it's going to fill up. It's not the best.
Yeah,
not the best.
That is crazy.
It is.
Hey, good on you. You just talk about tenacity, stand up, keep charging towards your vision, keep charging forward. So we get past a couple of floods, and then, damn it, this pandemic comes, and things stop again. And so, we've been now 18, 19 months, whatever it's been. Obviously, you've gone through some sort of transition to still be here. I might say not fortunate. You're not lucky to still be here. There is no luck involved. It is all about hard work and the grind, and the ability to adjust or adapt to, your changing circumstance. So how did you move from March 17th, last year to here we are today? What things did you have to do?
Well, I guess because I had been through two other kind of catastrophes where business was stopping, I could actually start to feel it. I remember March 13th coming into the store and being like, whoa, so-and-so lives with her mother, and, all these things, thinking like her older mother, like she shouldn't be here. And all of a sudden I didn't think a lot about it. I just thought, we have to close again. I can't believe it's a beautiful day outside. We've never had to close on a beautiful day like this. And so we closed the store. And then I remember I called you almost right away and said, what do I do? And then, you kind of gave me a couple quick things. And then from there, we shut everything down, of course, like everybody else. And then I was like, I kind of wallowed a little. And then I'm like, this isn't going to work. I can't even tell when the end of this is. There's nothing to clean up. Usually I have to clean up from a disaster. And this time I was like, whoa, okay, this is slow. I can think for a minute, which actually I haven't done in 10 years. It feels like you just keep going all the time. And so this was different. And so I thought somebody started talking about online, and I'm like, if the one thing I don't know anything about is technology. I mean, I don't know anything about technology. I never need to worry about it. That wasn't actually part of my initial vision. It was to create something in this town where people could come and we could really make this town come alive. The buildings are amazing. That was really what I wanted. There's so many good people, but it was missing something. So it wasn't just about selling stuff for me. It was about what I could create. So then I was like, well, I got to do something because we have to survive here. And so in literally the middle of the night, and that very nice man on another, like a retail platform on Facebook, volunteered to help build me a website. It was literally the middle of the night. I mean, I thought I was having a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. It was awful. He was so kind and so nice. And he did it. And that got us started. And then from there, we did everything we had to do like everybody else,
right,
to make it. So
isn't it remarkable how this community, this retail community in the middle of the night can band together?
Yeah, it's amazing.
We talk about community over competition constantly. It is part of our regular language, but yet, we still have these feelings of angst and anger to our competition, but yet here we have this audience that steps up, this community that steps up when we really need them. And so you got to appreciate that. It's
amazing. I mean, I would say the people that get me the most, I might never even have met before,
right,
but you just get to know them because they get it.
Right.
They get it. If they're actually on these platforms interacting, a lot of times they're going through the same thing you are, and they actually really care about their business. It helps. Yeah.
Tammy, we live in this lonely world that retail entrepreneurialism is. It's not easy to go home and have healthy conversations about business. It's not easy to go out for drinks with your girlfriends and have healthy conversations because it's not everybody in the same world. We think about us all being in the same boat in the same storm, or a different boat in the same storm, or blah, blah, all that other BS that comes with these things. But truthfully, our circle of influence doesn't really understand what we go through every single day, and the highs and the lows, I'm the greatest retailer in the world to, oh my God, I'm going to eat Kraft dinner for supper tonight kind of thing. Right.
Yes. Yep.
And so it's good to have this community of like-minded, in a lot of cases, audiences. And so there are a couple of platforms that we lean on. What are your favorite platforms to go and look for some help?
Well, I mean, I've been a long follower of the Whiz Bang retailers, Bob Nagin, and part of that group. I mean, the people there who I found, I think, first. Mm-hmm. And then when the pandemic hit, then I for some reason, Ashley from the Boutique Hub popped up on my Instagram feed. It was like, I remember I was at home sitting there. It was like the 1st of April. And she's, and I'm like, who is this woman? I didn't know these people existed. It was so cool because it was, of course, perfect timing, and I'm sure, perfect targets and all of that. But it was right for me. And so then I joined the Boutique Hub, and then I've learned a lot from those ladies there too. Those are two of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're not familiar with the Boutique Hub, go and search out the Boutique Hub. Ashley Alderson has created this amazing community, loaded with resources, from what started as, searching out your favorite boutique to now every type of boutique education imaginable. And, as the name might indicate, boutique, don't think about this as being, it's for the small, it's for the retailers, any retailer out there. I believe that there are 3 really advanced communities. Certainly, Bob Nagin and the Whiz Bang group do a fabulous job Ashley Alderson and the Boutique Hub. And you know that I am very, very close to Management One.
Yes.
And Management One has their own private retail Facebook group. If you're not part of that group and you're a retailer, get on there and join that community. There is a lot of good conversation that's going to happen there. And so I'm going to sort of give you why I believe, you know, you have this wealthy retail in you, Tammy. It is because you do lean on these resources. And for me, retail success has to be combined with certainly some inventory guidance, inventory help. And I do believe you're fortunate to work with one of the best inventory coaches out there, Margot Kopman, with Project Retail. Absolutely a rock star in this world. Love her to death.
She is something. She is the best.
She's something.
She is the best. No personality at all. No. she is the best.
She's got she's got herself together, that girl. And so how has that relationship with Margot and the Retail Orbit platform transitioned your business?
Margot has always been very important to my business since I met her. It was just a year or so after the first flood. So we worked together through 2 of those disasters, and she steers me all the way, along with the plan, of course, But she is like very, very like adamant that I protect my cash and make sure that I always have the cash that I need. And so we use the plan, and then she kind of guides me through. Sometimes we veer off the plan because, you know, after all these disasters, don't always have enough cash to fill out the whole plan. But it has been, she's been very important. And also the cash flow. And when the pandemic happened, I would say that's been one of the most important things.
Yeah.
I only really was able to keep one person at that time, and it was my bookkeeper. Right. And Margot, you know, was adamant that I do my cash flow. And she told me that the retailers that succeeded were the ones that were handling their own cash, who knew how to make the decisions. And so every week I do it still. And she was right. She was right. Yep. Yeah.
Good on you. Good on you and her. So retailers, you know, this is not an advertisement for Management One. But you've heard me talk about it for a couple of years now, how important Management One is, how important that piece of the puzzle is. It is one of the most valuable tools you will add to your toolbox as a retailer, along with other resources. But first and foremost, protecting, you know, your most valuable asset, your greatest asset, your biggest liability. You know, these 2 things that inventory is clashing all the time, is critically important to success, to retail success. So, you know, take it from Tammy and lots of retailers that have come before her, that, you know, part of their success path is the relationship that they have with their inventory management platform. And for us, there's none other than Management One. Absolutely the leader in
I completely agree. Agree.
And so, you know, Management One, built on, you know, 30 some years of trending, you know, all goes out the window in March 20, and trend is gone. And now they've adapted to real live demand. What's happening in my store right now? And so has your assortment had to shift through the pandemic and coming out the other side of it? I mean, I know we're not out of the other side of it yet, but
sure.
I don't know if we'll ever really be out the other side, but we have evolved. You know, we've seen some evolution here. So how has that changed your assortment? Have you taken steps that way?
Yes, we definitely have. I mean, I always have run on very lean inventory, and we do a lot with a little, and but it turns very fast. And so I think during probably the last 6 to 12 months, you know, we had to start really changing how we were doing things and trying to, you know, kind of go with a little bit of a different pricing strategy, you know, good, better, best, have a little bit more, and then buying a little deeper than we used to. The assortment was wider and more narrow. And now did I say that right? Wider, more narrow, but it's a little deeper. We're buying fewer things, and trying to have like a better range in our assortment. And we're seeing really good success from that. It makes a big difference. Even in my life, I can feel the difference. There's more for my customer rather than me buying for everybody. I'm definitely buying more for my customer, which also helps me have a little bit more inventory to also sell online now instead of, burning through it as fast. So it's been a shift, but it's been good.
The Wealthy Retailer podcast is brought to you by Canadian Retail Solutions. Learn more at retailbycrs.com.
And I think, Tammy, one of the attributes to success in the last 12 months has certainly been really narrowing down your assortment and going deeper and making sure that your demand, your supply meets the demand. And it's not about being all things to all people. It's about being the right things to the right people. And too often retailers get caught up in, chasing nuts. We're squirrels. It's like, oh, I want this, instead of really being laser focused on what you do well and then looking for opportunities to expand your marketplace. If you described yourself as a lifestyle store, and would you have described yourself that way 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago?
I mean, I always, that was the aspiration, was to be a lifestyle. Well, when I originally started, I didn't plan to sell clothes. That was just a fluke that turned into the whole business. That's just how we go. But yeah, I think, I have always referred to myself as a life, but I probably wasn't actually fulfilling that as much as maybe buying a little bit for everybody, too much for the tourist. And now I really zoomed in more on my customer. So I feel like I'm actually able to understand her better and buy better for her lifestyle. Right.
And so this is important, retailers, to hear this message. I'm buying for her lifestyle. It's important for us to understand what our core focus is always. And anytime something enters our vision, our scope that's outside of our core focus, it takes attention away from us and probably leads us down a path of spending more than we're getting. The juice isn't worth the squeeze when you steer off of that. So staying laser focused on, what your core is important, not just important, but it's everything. The path to success. Yes. It's everything. So now that you've identified yourself, I'm a lifestyle store and I buy for her, it's a little bit easier to pass on what would have disguised itself as an opportunity in the past. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yes, no, I agree. And I try to think through, even when I go somewhere, what I would buy. And I'm not always looking. I was so worried about the price. And now I know that if I go somewhere and buy something, it's what I like. And it's not necessarily just about the price. So that's helped me expand. And
so let's just expand a little bit on this, because you are spot on. This is no longer a price game. Right. This is no longer about me having the lowest price. It's about me having the best product, the things that appeal to her. And price has become the least of the objections. The greatest objection that we hear in retail today is always going to be service driven. I didn't get help. The help I got was poor. And this speaks to having the right people on your floor. And I've said this a million times. I would rather have no one on my floor than someone on my floor that provides shitty service. The last thing I want is someone leaving thinking, oh my God, I'm never shopping there again, or not having that experience that makes them feel important. The better she feels in your store, the easier it is to start inching price points up. And you and I have had this conversation in the past. It's better to sell less for more than more for less. And so really inching price point up means that you're going to work smarter, not harder, to achieve your goals.
Yes, that has been huge. And it's not even just inching the price point up. It's also me being really searching out some better things, a better quality, whether it's a better quality line or just stretching a little. And I think that it's not even always a lot. It's just a little. And it really, I can see that a little goes a long way. and it's just a better experience for my customer.
And Tammy, certainly one of the things that the pandemic has done for us is given us this clear line. There's a difference between the race to the bottom and the race to the top.
Mm-hmm.
The race to the bottom is always going to be about price. And even though, pre-pandemic, we talked about the internet like a race to the bottom, that it was only about price. What has happened today now in e-commerce is that it is no longer price driven. There is more emphasis on supporting my community, my local community, or
Yes.
a local community.
That's right.
We have this good fortune to sell products, across the continent. It's no longer
Yes.
just selling in my own, community. In Ellicott City, I can now ship goods to Syracuse, New York. And
Right.
that consumer still knows they're supporting a local business instead of one of the big box. And that has given us this ability to let price go a little bit. It doesn't mean that, we have the ability to mark things up beyond what their value is.
Yes.
But value is subjective. And as we deliver better service, more value, then price comparison becomes non-existent.
Right. No, I think I agree with that 100%. And I think part of what I learned, even just through all these different channels and Boutique Hub and really paying attention to is that you can have a community online. Whereas I used to feel that my community was just right here in Ellicott City. And we do service them well and love them. But that can be, that can stretch further than I ever thought it could.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
And so what's in your future? So here we are. Let's just maybe take that a little smaller question.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the cusp of holiday this year.
Mm-hmm.
Our outlook for holiday is pretty good. We really feel like this is going to be a better holiday period than we've had in a long time. And I don't believe that holiday is going to happen as early this year as it did last year. We were in a pinch last year and started holiday sales much earlier than we had ever started before. Do you think you're going to see a bit of a lag in starting holiday this year that get it back to a traditional maybe end of November forward?
I think I'm not sure exactly. I do know people are starting to ask about holiday and wanting to, I know that they're concerned, about some of the shipping, some of the issues of, stuff
Right.
selling out. We're hearing a lot of that. We're not doing a lot different. We're not going to put our stuff out, and we're going to wait until we
Right.
kind of launch and try to do what we normally do. But we're expecting it to be good.
Mm-hmm. And because there is this scarcity in inventory, are you seeing more discounts coming your way, or are we going to hold some margin longer?
No, we're going to hold some margin longer.
Nice. Yeah, say it again. We're going to hold margin.
Going to hold margin. We just try to, that's part of the launch. We don't really have a lot of time for a lot of discounts.
Right.
So yeah, we don't typically have to discount a ton. But this year, I can't imagine we would have to discount a ton. It's harder to get all your stuff.
Yeah,
So,
there is definitely. Every conversation
Yeah.
I have is there is this underlying message of, if I get it,
Right. No, it is.
seeing some stores getting product that, should have come last year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That should have come in the spring that they're getting
Right.
now. And
No,
we're
it's
making
true.
the decision, do I want to take it or not? And,
Right.
depending on the category of product, we're taking inventory now.
Yes. Yes.
Because there is such demand and
It's
limited
a
supply.
new challenge for sure.
Right.
Like we've had to close, we've had but we have never had such difficulty getting inventory.
Right.
So it's tricky, but we'll figure it out. I mean, there's stuff out there. It's just, you have to be a little resourceful, and looking is half the fun. So,
Right.
if it doesn't come, we just pivot literally and just do something different.
And I think that we've seen retailers certainly start to shift their mindset where they're not going back to the same well that they've always gone to. And, if you're a retailer out there and you continue to make this excuse that my vendors don't have anything, excuse, right? The deflection of blame onto
Mhm.
something I can't control or someone I can't control or can't influence. then you're going to wallow in your sorrows. But if you see this as opportunity, this challenge that's in front of you as an opportunity to introduce yourself to new vendors and new supply, there is inventory out there.
Oh,
you just have to go and get it. You have to go find it. You can't go back to the same old, because, quite frankly, they don't have it. And if you're that, I only buy from these 5 vendors, well,
that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And I think the other thing is just being able to get the straight answer from your vendor. Like, you're not going to get that. This stuff is definitely not coming. So then, you actually have this opening to buy.
Right.
That's a little challenging.
And I think that we have to stay, I shouldn't say I think, I'm adamant about this. You've got to stay connected to your vendor. You can't wait until it's too late to ask, where's my product? You have to be in constant communication, tracking. You need to have this order tracking process in your system.
Absolutely.
That you know when something's coming or when it's not coming. Being straight with your vendor and saying, look, if it's not coming, I get it.
Let me know. Just tell me. Right. Yeah. Yes. And cancel it. So I don't get it in February.
Right. Yeah. And for a long time, we were always challenged with being over-positioned in inventory, under-positioned in cash. And now those tables have completely flopped. And we're actually in a position of power with vendors today where we've got some cash and we've got some need. And now picking up the phone and calling a vendor and saying, hey, I've got $6,000 that I need to spend. What can you get for me is a different conversation than, hey, I know you have $6,000 worth of inventory, but I don't have any money. Can you give it to me on terms?
That's right. Yeah. No. Yes. That's right.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So what's in the future for Sweet Elizabeth Jane? What are we seeing next from Tammy and the team?
Oh, well, we're just going to keep taking our experience as digital plus the, in-store experience. There's always new things to do. We're just going to keep trying new things. But we're not going to stop what we started with the online presence that I was so terrified of. Now I see it as the opportunity for more, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. So I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I know that we're, moving forward in that direction to try to create that fuller experience for our customer and just broaden our community. So
and you and I have had this conversation in the past, in building out a team that helps you to get, to bring that vision to life.
Yes.
Is a constant work. It's a constant, I don't want to say battle, but that's a challenge that we meet head on. We are always trying to put the right people in the right seat.
That's right.
Retailers, you have to be looking for the right person that allows your vision not just to come to life, but to see it live, to see it in action.
I think that for me personally, that is definitely the hardest. The hardest part is just making sure. What I will say is what has simplified the people aspect has been understanding and learning from working with you about the core values and how important it is. And so we now base our questions literally around the core values. And I will say that since the pandemic, we have everyone that we have hired we don't mind coming to work. It's fun to work together, and that we're all on the same page. And maybe we're not all in the right seat, on the bus, but everybody belongs on the bus. And I love that. It makes it fun and easy to be at work. And it's always challenging, because when you're in independent retail, we are the corporate office, this little space, we have to make all the decisions and it's fatiguing. But as a whole, if you have the right people, it just makes it better.
Yeah, good. Well said. Well said, Tammy. You got to have the right people on the bus. Moving their seats around, moving them into different seats isn't difficult if they're the right people.
That's right.
So making sure you've got, you're surrounded by the right person, that person that has the people that share your values, your guiding principles in your store will make this journey so much more fun.
Yeah,
so much more fun.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah. It's
doesn't make it easy, but it makes it.
It doesn't make it easy, but I don't need it to be easy, but I need it to be fun along the way.
Really well said. Tammy, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It is an absolute pleasure. Retailers, if you're looking for a little bit of lifestyle love out there, go check out Sweet Elizabeth Jane on all your favorite social platforms. Be sure to check out our social platforms, The Wealthy Retailer, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those other crazy places. And make sure to sign up for the weekly newsletter from Canadian Retail Solutions at retailbycrs.com. Get a copy of this exact podcast in that weekly newsletter and hear a little bit more about Tammy and Sweet Elizabeth Jane. Thanks, Tammy.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.